Alright guys, so we need to just, as we planned for the lab, we need to do the migration and do those labs which require two hypervisors. So right now we have two hypervisors here, hypervisor 1 and 2. So and these hypervisors, obviously you may have given your machine names there, as we went with the naming convention there, and the IP address is, for the first one at least, it is 200.1 255.255.255.0, and then there's a gateway here which we don't need, it's just a fake gateway. And we plan to install DNS here. In fact, we have it, so it's all configured here. Now we already have DNS and DHCP, and what we don't have is Active Directory yet, right? Do we need it? So since we need to migrate the machines from one hypervisor to another very securely, so security means Active Directory authentication has to be there, Active Directory authorization has to be there, right? So in order to do that, so that's your second machine with the IP there. So that's the machine name you're supposed to give, your first name Win02, and obviously that's the second static IP. We do not have here DNS DHCP. They're both having Hyper-Vs. So here obviously it is a hypervisor, so Hyper-V must be working, and I'm sure it is. So what are the precautions, what are the prereqs for starting with the Hyper-V migration? So what are we talking about? First of all, it is migration of VM from one hypervisor to another. Why would you want to do that? So migration of virtual machines. So in what situation would you want to go for migration of virtual machines? Yeah. So any guess, why would you want to go for migration of virtual machines from one hypervisor to another while it's working fine? Or it's not working fine, that's one reason, exactly. So what's not working fine? So it could be the degradation of performance, right? So either we are demoting an old hardware, so we migrate, so we move the machines to newer hardware. That's the first thing. And second thing would be degradation of performance. So, and that is like live. So right now performance is, suppose there are so many tickets getting created in, and you're seeing those tickets, and you're checking that users saying that when they connect to their virtual machines they cannot actually, it's so slow, right? So degradation of performance, right? So what does that mean? There are virtual machines on this hypervisor, virtual machine, and end users are connected to those machines, right? So end users are connected to this machine, maybe it's a file server, end user connected to this machine, maybe it's a web server or some other server. So all of a sudden users are saying that it's too slow. So you investigate and you find that the common RAM, the physical RAM that being used is less, CPU being used is less, SSD drive less space, or speed is bad, whichever drive they have. So what's going on here is you decide that, okay, can I, while the users are working, while the machine is powered on, can I migrate the machine while the machine is powered on, users are connected? So can I migrate from one hypervisor to another? No, right? So while the machine is powered on, can you migrate a machine? So in VMware also that is called vMotion, and in Microsoft it's called live migration. And you can turn off the machine and migrate, so there's a downtime there if you turn it off. So can we migrate a VM without a downtime? So that's where, you know, then the prerequisites have to be configured. And what's going on here is that yes, first we're going to migrate the machine powered off from one hypervisor to another. Then we're going to try to power on the machine, same machine, and we're going to try to migrate while it is on, and it better be on when it is there on the other side, on the other Hyper-V, right? So VMware supports the same thing, Citrix Zen Server supports the same thing, and Microsoft Hyper-V supports the same thing. So can you migrate a VM without downtime? Well, yes, we can migrate a VM while it is powered on, while end users are connected, and the machine and the VM moves / migrates from one hypervisor to another. It's always interesting to prove it instead of claiming it. So that's why we need some prerequisites to be there first in order to really make it happen. So there's that can you migrate a VM without a downtime? So we talked about that. Now there are some prerequisites here that we want to go for before we really start doing the migration. So we did create 2 virtual machines last time, whenever that last time was. So okay, yeah. So if we go to the first machine, let's go to the first machine, guys. And our first machine, you may have oh, okay, I'll just turn it off. You know, I was just checking the whole thing before. Okay, so let's open Hyper-V there, or if it is already open, that's good. Okay, so I'm just going to go for the first machine, go to Hyper-V, and right click on the Hyper-V here, or go to tools and go for Hyper-V Manager, or just right click here and click Hyper-V Manager, right? So if it is powered on, then you could just make sure that you all have 2 machines there, right? We all have 2 machines on the first Hyper-V. So let's take our first screenshot here, that 2 VMs on a Hyper-V. Well, 2 VMs on a Hyper-V. So for migration, I'll just go for screenshot 1. So 2 VMs on a Hyper-V. So that's for our first, so it would be this one we're talking about. Obviously, the second Hyper-V, we didn't create any machine, and we will not be creating any machine on second Hyper-V. We're going to be migrating from first one to the second one. So screenshot number 1, and let's go ahead a little and try to check what's the configuration of the second one. The 2 VMs on first Hyper-V. Alright, guys. Okay, so let's go for some understanding here. So we have two virtual machines here, and these two virtual machines are connected to a virtual switch. I'll just try to suppose that's a virtual switch here, that's a virtual switch here. So I'll just go for vSwitch here. vSwitch. Oops. vWhich. Okay, no. It's vSwitch. And then there's a network card here, the NIC, and there's a NIC here. Obviously, one is there. Now we have put two NICs here for the first. Now the first NIC is just connecting to this machine to the LAN. The second NIC is actually connected to the external virtual switch here, right? So the second NIC is connected on first hypervisor. Second NIC is connected to external virtual switch, right? External virtual switch is obviously the first virtual switch that gets created when you install HyperV within the hypervisor. And that's the same thing, but here on the second HyperV, I didn't put in my instructions that please create two NICs there. So majority of us might have, or maybe all of us have, just one NIC on the second machine, right? And that NIC is because you're saying that HyperV is working already, so that NIC may have been mapped to this external virtual switch already. So what we need there as well is another NIC that is dedicated for LAN. So we're going to do that, right? So that's one thing that we're going to do. And second thing is that we're going to go through the prerequisites, how to enable migration between two HyperV hypervisors, right? How to enable migration for that. So that's something that we have to carefully check. That's one. There are many things there to check. First one would be same CPU or same CPU family, that is. So suppose first of all, it cannot be one HyperV on Intel and the other HyperV on AMD, so it won't work. If the first HyperV is on Intel, second is also on Intel, but it's a different family of Intel processors. So there are like 8 or 9 families of Intel processors there. So if they belong to, the second HyperV belongs to a separate Intel processor family, then also migration will not work. That's the same in VMware, in Citrix Xen Server, and in Microsoft. Yes, sir.
You mean like CPU architectures?
CPU
like
architectures,
Sandy
exactly.
Bridge, Haswell, those?
There you go.
Okay.
Haswell, what was the other one?
Sandy Bridge.
Sandy Bridge, Haswell, yeah. Exactly. So there are, I think, 8 or 9 Intel processor families there. So if it's a different processor family, which means different features, so migration will not work in that case as well. It has to be the same, at least same family, which is family of processor might be 5 or 6 types of processor released, side by side within 5 to 10 years. So if it's different family of processors, again, not processors, yeah. So same CPU family, and obviously same CPU vendor. And then they say that same external vSwitch, same external vSwitch name. Then at least it will not stop. Otherwise, it will ask, "Hey, I'm about to move from machine 1 to machine 2." The virtual machine will ask during migration. So you will have to tell that which switch you want to connect this machine to. So this machine would be moving from here to there. So if the external virtual switch name is different here, at least it will ask that, "Hey, I was coming from first HyperV, and that had a virtual switch name called your first name vSwitch 1. But here, it's different. It's some Intel something. That's the name." If the virtual switch name is different, it's going to at least ask you, or it's going to stop there. and ask you that which external switch you want me to connect to, because it's not the same name that I found in the source Hyper-V. So same external virtual switch name must be there on both hypervisors. Oh, I'll just put that on both hypervisors. And then there's that the admin account must be a member of Active Directory security group called Hyper-V administrators of a Active Directory security group called Hyper-V administrators. Obviously we need Active Directory for that. So it might take a longer time. We can start early. So there are these prerequisites there. There are some more. Obviously we need to go for configuration of LM in both Hyper-V, which is live migration. So configure, basically what we're saying here is configure migration configuration on both hypervisors, on both Hyper-V machines or hypervisors. You need to configure LM or live migration, and especially why we really need Active Directory here, configure Kerberos for live migration or LM. They just call it live migration. That's the product name there. That's the terminology they use. So we can just shut it down and migrate as well, but they call it LM or live migration. So configure Kerberos for live migration. Anyone knows what's a Kerberos? Ever heard of it?
It's a secure version of whatever the open migration service is, right? So it requires the AD authentication.
Okay. And basically it is a ticketing based authentication system that Active Directory uses. So, and specialty is that password never leaves the machine. Password never travels over the network when Kerberos is being used. Okay. Way to go. Ah, way to go. So without that Kerberos, we won't be able to do live migration at all. So even if we try turning off the machine and migrate, it will say that, hey, who authorized you to migrate the machines, right? So you have to be authorized to do that in a Microsoft environment. In VMware, obviously, you have to get authorization from the vCenter, the central application there. Here, it's Active Directory that will authorize you to initiate a live migration, right? So that's where we're going to try to go ahead and install or try to implement this live migration. So the prerequisites that we wanted to know, first of all, let's just try to go back there and check out our second machine. So open Hyper-V inside the second machine. Then second thing is we need to just add one more NIC there in the second machine, right? So first of all, we just try to check if the machine is intact, it's working fine. So we go to the second machine here, and if you have given that, so I'm just going to go to the second machine, go to Tools, and go to Hyper-V Manager. It's Hyper-V Manager, right? So that's our machine 2. And if we click that machine name there, obviously there's no virtual machine right now inside created. So so far so good. Second thing is we need to add, so if it is opening for everyone, that's good. Let's go for, according to the diagram, let's make sure there's a second NIC there that is just LAN, it's for LAN, it's independent, right? So we're just going to because the first NIC is already connected or mapped to the external virtual switch that comes with the HyperV installation. So, and we have just one NIC, right? So on the machine 2 here, let's right click on top of the machine 2 and go down to settings here and just add a second NIC that should be in the same VMnet as the first machine's NICs are. So I'm just going to go ahead, right click on settings and go down to add. I'm on the second machine here, right? And click add here and then select the network adapter and then click finish. So let's just do that, and the second screenshot is coming now. So network adapter and click finito. So now first one is Virt15 on the second hypervisor, and the second one we can also put on the same network because we just need the traffic or live migration traffic to be on the same network as well. You can make it on a different network as well in production environments by VLANing them. So right now we're just going to keep it simple. So the second NIC, as soon as it is added, we're going custom here and selecting Virt15 so all the machines could communicate on the same VMnet or same VLAN. So click anywhere else and you will see that. So if the second network card is added and added to Virt15, we're good. Let's go ahead and press OK. I hope everyone was able to do that. So let's press OK here. Okay, let's go to local server here. So it's machine 2 here. Let's click local server. So you should be seeing 2 network cards here. So screenshot 2, 2 NICs in second HyperV. Screenshot 2 would be 2 NICs in second HyperV. So on local server, you're showing 2 NICs. Two NICs on. And obviously that's the name wise, I'm just going to put that. Okay. So, when you're adding a second NIC, check. So no hard space. So delete all the movies and just or delete all the games and just again. Alright guys. So here so configuration on both. Now we already understand that the CPUs are same, obviously, because the machines are on the same physical laptop. So we can say that this is check, same CPU family, same external virtual switch name. Okay, let's work on that. Now we had created 3 virtual switches there on first HyperV. We need to get rid of the other 2. Yes, sir.
My HyperV on my second machine is unable to work, and I follow all your steps. I can't install it for whatever reason. You have 2 processors on it. You have 2 processors. Yeah. I followed everything. Did you check the checkbox in the processor menu? It's about Intel. Yeah. Yeah. What's your error? Just says HyperV cannot be installed. Hypervisor is already running.
Means you didn't have the code right.
I did. I copied and pasted.
At the end of the
Yeah. Yep. Bunch of times.
Are you sure you added it to the right VM?
Yep. It's almost like I'm in IT.
Well, sometimes you don't listen, so.
No.
well, did you click that option there as well for processors? Okay. Yes. Oh, you can just put it running. And end of
It keeps deleting itself.
It moves.
No,
It
it
doesn't
is
delete
there.
itself, it just
It
moves.
is there.
It is there.
Where?
No, the
It's
three lines
mixed
of
in.
code.
Yeah,
Yeah, they move.
Once every time you use the VM, it'll just update. It's still there. Put it in the right place.
Well, normally students have to just recreate the machine if it's just corrupt or something. Because there are just two steps.
Well, maybe you just put it on the wrong VM.
It's not. This is exactly the right one. I only have one called Virt.
Well, how about the micro machine and the processor? No, anyways. Yeah, here it is. Settings. Processor. It's good. Not much to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, what we can do is I can help you with this. Do that. But what I will do is just try to recreate the machine. Put new, like code again. And hopefully it works. Hey guys, so anyone else having? So at the end of the class, we can, I can sit with you and go through your, machine issues, and we can just resolve it, and then we can just extend time for you to, upload the screenshots with your names there. Okay, guys. So same CPU, same external switch. Okay, main thing, we need Active Directory. So that needs to be done here. Console 1. Okay. So, okay, that's gonna take a little time, and obviously we need to make sure that it is correctly installed. The two major tasks here are Active Directory and join to domain, the second guy. So I'm sure you can do it with eyes closed and hands tied behind your back, but let's try to do it without that. So the first machine, Win01, let's install Active Directory there, and so go to first machine here. Now I tried to do that without Active Directory. Obviously that's a bad call, plus obviously it's never going to work. So in a very secure environment, they would let you live migrate, and without Active Directory there is no secure environment. So on the machine 1, right, let's just go there and minimize the HyperV manager. Let's go to the dashboard on machine 1 and add roles and features. So you know the drill from here, but let's just try to be a little careful here. Let's click add roles and features. Next. And role based feature based. Next. Your first name Win01. Next. And we're going for Active Directory domain services. So let's click that. Oh, I have a pending restart. Seriously. Okay. Anyway, so let's click that. And now we do have a DNS on this machine already. Before we installed, HyperV, we actually went for DNS, right? So DNS is already there. But let's try to check if we can let Active Directory configure it for us as well, although we configured it as well. So Active Directory domain services, and let's click next. And that's it, next. So nothing here as well, ADDS. Next, until you see this page where if there's a pending restart, let's click that restart. It will restart then. If there's no pending restart, then it won't restart. So let's just click that and press yes and click install. Okay, so now we have a zone created inside DNS already. So guys, can you go to tools on this machine and go to DNS? Because we created a zone with a separate name, with a different name. So on the machine number 1, click the tools and click the DNS here. And once you go inside the DNS, you see a forward lookup zone. I hope I was there. And yes, it's your first name zone.local, right? If you click that, your first name zone.local, the A record of this current server is there as well. So since we're about to install Active Directory with DNS, so that DNS will be 80 integrated DNS, which is what we need. So we don't need that independent zone anymore, and too late for that for me. So we need to delete that. So we're gonna delete that zone, and well, the A record will be gone with it, because once we install Active Directory, oh no, don't tell me. No. Shoot.
Is it like an update or something?
Yeah. It's going fast, I guess.
How many gigabytes of RAM and cores did you put on?
Yikes. I hope nobody's machine restarted.
No, mine,
Well, I had a pending restart, so I had it coming.
mine's still installing.
Oh. So guys, once you're there in Active Directory, you can see this, your first name domain.local. So if you have that, no, but before you go ahead with Active Directory installation, creating a new forest and everything, you must get rid of that zone. Although if that zone is there, better get rid of it, because we could just go by it, and won't really hurt. But better get rid of it and keep the environment clean. So well, better you can wait for me, and we're gonna just delete the zone, and the A record inside the zone will be gone as well. But if you can right click and delete, yeah, go ahead if you want, if you know how to do that. Like if you're having confidence to do that. Whoa. It was going fast, but okay. Is it on my SSD? Yeah. Oh, okay. It shoots up to 72. And come on, move it. Okay, and whew, okay. Another bad thing about our machines, I guess, is that it's not asking for login, or maybe just for my machine, it's not asking the login administrator password. It's not stopping there, but there's a command that would let it do that. That will configure it. Okay, guys, so I'm back here finally, and so the basic files, the binary files of the ADDS are installed. Let's just get rid of that DNS zone that we created, right? So let's click that tools, and then go to DNS. Okay, there you go. So, and forward lookup zone. So this is a zone that we have that we don't need now. So right click here, first select it, then right click it, and there's a delete.
The whole zone or the A record?
Oh, the full zone. We don't need that, because Active Directory, the 80 integrated DNS when we install that, we will tell it to create a new zone. So it will create it for us. Active Directory will configure forward lookup zone for us. So we can get rid of the whole zone here within the forward lookup zone and make it empty forward lookup zone. I'm going to go down here and click delete. I hope everyone's seeing that. And that's it, delete and yes. So now forward lookup zone is empty, and now when we install Active Directory, we're going to tell it, hey, this is a domain name which we are going when we are creating a new forest. So we're going to give a domain name. So it's going to create a zone for it itself for us. So for that we just did that. So I'm just going to go to the server and refresh a couple of million times, just a few thousand times, and in Microsoft, refresh is our best friend. So now DNS is ready. DNS is saying, hey, okay, Active Directory, give me the zone now. So I'm just going to minimize this. If it is deleted, we're good. And the other screen is actually here. Maybe you're already there. Promote this server to a domain controller. If you close this screen, then the yellow triangle here would also do the same thing. Promote this server to a domain controller. So let's go for promote this server to a domain controller. Once we go ahead, now we just need to obviously create a new forest, new site, new domain, new tree. So add a new forest. Let's click that. Add a new forest, and then go for your first name domain.local. Your first name domain.local. If the first name is long, just go for half of your first name. If that is long as well, then half for your first name. Just kidding. So your first name domain.local. Click next. So wow. Are you on the next page already? I guess everyone is.
Still
Oh.
deployment configuration.
Oh, on there. Okay.
It's taking a while to load.
Oh.
The one time when I went through the whole thing in front of Spencer, I took 2 plates.
So obviously it's the class password here, right?
Like I just fisted so confidently.
That's pretty funny.
6 GB RAM is brutal. Okay, guys, here small ABC capital ABC shift 1 2 3 and small ABC capital ABC shift 1 2 3. So whatever class password you gave there, that's okay. Let's click next.
Hold on.
Oops.
Mine's on that page, but it's like still loading.
Oh, it's loading. Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
And the class password,
What is the class password? Whatever you want. Cool.
or whichever password you want, as long as it's complex enough.
Symbol,
We're good?
number, capital,
Cool.
and lowercase.
Okay, let's click next.
Yep.
And well, it's looking for DNS. Obviously it's not going to find it because we're in the process of installing that, so we can ignore this. We can't do anything anyway here. So let's click next, and then it's just NetBIOS domain name, so the prefix of the domain, and it's a single name access for legacy applications to the Active Directory, as well as you could just join with a single name any machine to a domain. We don't have to really change that, and click next. It's just taking forever to load this page. So click next here, nothing to do. And well, okay, syswall and ntds, the folder structure, and let's click next. So same path here, and yes, the summary, that's it. Click next. So it's gonna just verify, and there you go. What? Oh, okay, guys, no one else got this, right?
I got it. No, everybody's gonna get it until they sign into the administrator.
Yes. So So no, guys, there's a command for everyone. Got it? Okay. So guys, there's a command. We're gonna just give the command. We don't have to sign out. But there's a command there, and that is net user command. So if you have this exact error, so we haven't given a local administrator password. So right click within the machine here to command prompt admin. Open the command prompt admin there. Go ahead and open the command prompt admin, and the command starts with net user. So net user. So which local user do you want to deal with? Okay, administrator. What do you want to do with the administrator? So whatever the password you give now after this will be the password of your administrator. So net user space administrator is the local user whose password I want is this. So we're changing, or we're giving a password to this administrator, which is not there yet, because it was just starting and logging in, right? So net space user space administrator, and the next one is password. After administrator is the password, right? We all got it? So press enter. Does it run successfully? Okay. So now, if everyone was able to do that, then we go back or previous on our wizard that had error. We go previous. It's like going back again and then running and then jumping. So
Something there that says rerun prerequisites check.
yeah, so it's going to just run the previous check again, and this time hopefully it's not gonna actually come up with the error. But
Asking us to actually hit back.
yeah, so it's better to go back. So I'm just gonna go previous. Actually, I don't know if I should go that far, but I'm there already. It works? Cool. Thank you, sir. So next. There we go. Why did I go so far? Okay, next. And prereqs check again. Hopefully everyone's good. And if you're good, go ahead, click install. Well, if you're good. Cool. So yes, sir. It's not.
You're not running it as an administrator.
So open as admin. Right click and yeah. You're in admin. Oh. Okay. If you're on the install, go ahead and install because it's gonna take forever. So if you're there on install, go ahead. Okay, I'm there. So we're good. And click install. And so you're good, or you need help? Good. So well, it's gonna restart automatically. It's gonna install Active Directory and DNS both. And when it comes back, whenever it comes back. So we should be ready to. Well, we can just still go for the rest of the prerequisites because this process just keeps on going and restarts itself until you reach the login screen. Until then, we can't do anything. Well, we can't do anything on this machine. So let's go to the second machine here, guys. And that second machine is still a standalone Windows server there. And at least we need to check that if it is going to be perfect in configuration when it comes to when we are about to do the live migration. I hope there are no configuration issues there. So let's go to the second machine, go to the local server here, and first of all we can check that we have the second network card there. So what is the IP of the first network card? So I hope everyone is seeing 200.2 there as the IP of the network card there. So Ethernet 0, which is actually mapped to the external virtual switch now, right? That's the one first thing, and second is the name is given there. Third is that we're just waiting for it to restart, and then we're going to join it to domain. Now what we can do is we can open that Hyper-V, which is hopefully already open, in the second hypervisor. If the Hyper-V is already open, we can do some more prereqs, because many of the prerequisites you need to do on both hypervisors. So the first one would be well, we're waiting for the Active Directory security group to be available to add our admin to the Hyper-V administrator security group, which will already be there. But before that, configure migration configuration on both Hyper-V machines. So this is what we're going to go for right now, at least on the second machine. When the first machine is back, we're going to do the same thing there. So we need to activate migration option there. So how do we do that? So we're on this option now, or prereq that we need to configure. So on the second machine, obviously what we are about to do here, we need to do it on the first machine later, exactly as we're doing it here now. So right click on this Hyper-V here, go down to, actually sorry, go to the Hyper-V settings, this one. So on the second Hyper-V, go right click on the server name and go to Hyper-V settings. So you should be on the second hypervisor on this page, and then we go down to this live migration. So that's what they call it. And so live migration, first thing, and obviously it's not enabled here, so we need to click the enable incoming and outgoing live migrations. Second thing is simultaneous live migration, so it can let you do two simultaneous, so two virtual machines at the same time can be migrated. According to your bandwidth, you can just increase that or decrease that. You can go up to 8 machines as well. But we're enabling the live migration option. Second thing is they're saying that, hey, which exact network are you going to use, or IP range you're going to use to do the live migrations. So it does say, generally use any available network for live migration, but we can go for what we are using here. So we can just add our IP range, and that's normally a security point of view. It's very important that suppose you have 2 IP ranges going on, or 5 IP ranges going on in your office. So you can enable live migration on any one range, that if the IPs are this, or from this range, only then let the virtual machines live migrate. So let's select the second option. We don't have to do that. We can just stick to the first option as well. It's going to work. But let's just check that. How do we configure the second option if we had to for security reasons? So let's click add here. And you just need to give a range. So our range right now we're using is 192.168.200.0/24. We can give 1 IP, 2 IP, 3 IPs as well. Just these IPs are allowed to take part in the live migration. But IP range would be okay. So if you have put in that range, let's press OK. So that's screenshot number 3 for live migration activated on machine 2. Live migration activated. So take a screenshot here with the IP range, live migration activated on machine 2. But that's not all. There's one more thing. So this is the main. So take a screenshot here, live migration activated on machine 2. Okay, I think it's machine 2. Okay, so just for reference, I'm just putting the name there. Okay, now let's go ahead. If we have put in that information, whoa, 3. Okay, so we if everyone has written that, let's go ahead, right? Okay, so we're going ahead, but if you want me to put it back, let me know. So that's one thing. You can see the plus sign here. In the live migration, there's a plus sign where the authentication and the way we want to move the machines related configuration is there. So let's click that plus sign, and it's going to expand to advanced features here. So plus sign here, advanced features. Once you click that advanced features here, you can see that it's asking, hey, you want to use the credential security support provider, or you want to go for Kerberos. Obviously, if you select it to create SSP, what it means is you must log on to the server to perform a live migration. So you should be in front of the server, log on. Yes, sir. Let me check that. So create SSP is just you must log on to the server, but you're going to go for use Kerberos. So click that, use Kerberos.
Yes, exactly. So, oh, we haven't. I haven't pressed it. But yes, we were all going to see this service.
So when we click apply, we're going to be seeing that, hey, where's the Active Directory? But I just took you there to show the configurations because as soon as Active Directory is there and it is an Active Directory account, it will let you do all this. So we're going to click use Kerberos, but it's not going to let us really go ahead. But why do we use Kerberos instead of CredSSP? CredSSP is if the server is in front of you. In production environments, normally, obviously, server is not in front of you. You remotely connect, right? So you must use Kerberos no matter what. So that's the main thing that we will be. So this is more secure but requires constrained delegation for live migration. So constrained delegation just means that Active Directory needs to authorize you to remotely connect to Hyper-V and initiate a live migration. So constrained delegation would be, so once you do configure Kerberos, it's going to let you get authorized. So that's one thing. Second thing is TCPIP compression, SMB. So when the machine leaves from one Hyper-V to another, so do you want it to first, the whole data to be compressed and then travel over the network to the destination within the LAN? Or you don't want it to be compressed? So compression would be, obviously, this data would be smaller, it will travel faster. And TCP/IP is without compression, and SMB is server message block, which is Microsoft's protocol to share files with each other. And CIFS, CIFS is also a protocol that does the same thing. So you want to use some advanced features of Microsoft's server message block protocol to move the files, move the virtual machines from one Hyper-V to another, but better go for compression. That is the faster option there, right? Now, these configurations I wanted to show you, and if we click apply, obviously it's going to give, let's see that error as well, and that would just tell us that, okay, where's the Active Directory then? So let's click that apply button here, and there it says live migrations can be enabled on a domain joined computer. So what settings we went through here are the exact settings we need to do on a member server with Hyper-V deployed, and then it will simply let you go ahead. So we can just stay here and check back. Oh, so on the first machine, is it done for everyone?
Yes.
Good. That's good. Cool. All right, guys. So if it is done, what we can do here is to avoid confusion, we need to quickly create a copy of a domain administrator account here. So we're not going to use domain administrator to log in from the other machine. We're going to create your first name admin as a copy of domain administrator. Yes, sir. It's not giving you the Ethernet? Okay, let me check that. So tools, guys, open Active Directory within computers, tools. Well, okay, I'll just come there and then, so we're basically gonna come here, and we're not going to use this top admin. We're going to be creating a copy of that call, which the username will be your first name admin.
Yes. Yes, actually, I'm not doing anything until he goes. Some nice socks there, sir. Comments and choice of clothing.
Think about what's under my socks, are you? Oh yeah, maybe.
Nail fungus. So, my socks smell really bad. Like all the pair of shoes I have are pretty fucked up.
Now it's your choice.
Awesome. No comment.
You don't know that.
I'm sure it's one of the contributing factors. So yeah,
What is this?
another pair of shoes.
It's at the groundhog.
What the hell is this?
Spencer Win 0.
Win 02, right? I literally did the same thing. I don't know why.
You're bad, so you should feel bad.
No, my computer's just mentally retarded.
It's a reflection of its user.
Thank you.
That was a spam call. I don't know. No. It's gotta be that way.
That's illegal. What was it?
German.
No, but what were they saying?
Oh, it was dog singing services.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, good. Awesome. I haven't gotten one of those in a while. It's not
Yeah.
the season for that.
Yeah, it's not the season for it.
Alright guys, so let's
I
get
wish that I had
going.
waited until I started speaking, because then I would have just poured him in Hindi. Oh, I deleted my old one, I made a new one, and now it works.
Welcome to Microsoft.
No idea. I deleted the old one, I made a new one, and now it works. Ta-da! I did the exact same thing. Nothing different.
Hey guys, so are we all here? Hey guys, are we all here? So exactly on this spot? Or do you want me to just take you there by starting over? No. If you're exactly on this spot, so why are we connecting, why are we creating a copy of the domain administrator account here? It's, the domain administrator account, we already know that the second server has a local account that is also called administrator. And the domain administrator is also administrator. So some students by mistake, and that mistake happens a lot, that when I say log in from the second machine from domain administrator, they by mistake log in from local administrator. And then when we start configuring, doing the configuration after, we have done a lot of configurations, then it says, oh, you're not authorized to do that. So that's why, just to avoid that, hey, not local, the domain administrator, why don't we just not use that and create an account that has the same powers as administrator, but it will be very clear in name. So let's click the copy here on the domain administrator, and then it's your first name admin, right? So your first name admin is the account, and I'm just gonna right click and paste here. So it's just you don't really have to go for the first names and last names, just go for your first name admin, So this has enterprise administrator role and schema admin role as well, which we don't need for our particular lab here, but it's the top admin now as well, just to avoid that mistake again and again. Okay, so if you have put in that information, then let's click next. And yes, your password, so whatever you give, or the class password, small ABC, capital ABC, shift 1 2 3. So yeah, we don't have to select any of those options, other than, yeah, I'm tempted to do that. Password never expired. So in production environments, normally it does not. We have to change the password every 30 days. So why don't we just keep it like that and have a habit of changing password instead of never expires. This is okay if you have put all that. In 42 days, it will ask to change the password because that's the default Active Directory user account password expiry date. So let's click next and finito, right? So this account has been created here. Let's just quickly double click that account and go to member of. Let's quickly double click this account and go to member of. So it shows that it's the top admin. So screenshot number 4 is that top admin account created. So if you click member of, it is having all the it's member of all the top administrator security groups, as the administrator itself is, because it's the exact copy. So top admin account created is so screenshot number 4 with member of. So screenshot number 4, just double click that and go to member of, right? And top admin account created. Take a screenshot number 4, top admin account created. That's top admin account created. Okay, so that's we're doing on 1, just for reference. Okay guys, so if we have put in that information, now we are able to go ahead smooth with the migration configurations and prerequisites. So if you have put in that name, we're good, right? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back here to, okay, press OK here, we're done. So this top admin account, so guys, we're gonna use just this account from now on. We're not gonna use administrator, that was the purpose. So I'm just gonna go here to the domain and just refresh just a few million times. Okay, refresh. And so from both machines, well, the second hasn't joined the domain, but both machines, we're going to be logging in only from your first name admin that we just created now, has all the privileges. So right click, sign out, and go ahead, right click, sign out, and just sign in from, go to other user, and so your first name admin, and the password, and always now use this throughout the course. Okay, your first name domain / your first name admin. So we're just gonna quickly join the second machine to the domain as well, and then we should be on our way to test that migration. Configure and test. So I'm just gonna go for, so the first machine, we're logged in from the top admin, your first name admin. Let's go to the second machine, and yes, this is just for discussion while we were waiting for the first machine to start. So if you're on the second machine here, just close this, close. Obviously it's not going to let you change those, but these are just few clicks that we're going to come back again and reconfigure. So here I'm going to go to local server. If your static IPs were correct, if you gave the same VM nets for both machines, your machine will be able to join the domain. So go to local server here, go to work group here, go to change. So on the second machine, go to local server, go to work group, click change, and then click domain. And we know what's the domain now. So your first name domain dot local, and hopefully it's asking for credentials like this. If it does, go ahead. So your first name admin, the top account, and I'm sure you did that with eyes closed and hands tied behind your back. It's so easy. But if you need, so press OK, next, and OK, restart, right? And log in from this account. Only this account when you're restarting. Okay, so we're good, right? So press OK, and yeah, okay. Yeah, welcome to domain, and OK, and go ahead and restart. So the migration is making us do that, otherwise, and that's very good. I mean, without Active Directory authentication, the migration will not be secure. Then you have to put certificates, which they don't go that way. Good?
It's taking.
Cool. Forever. Okay. Okay, guys, so now the second machine should be once, whenever you're there, just make sure you're not logging in from any local account there. Just go for back and other user and make sure that's the only account that you're using from now on. Your first name admin and the password to log into the domain. Now LM or live migration configurations will be acceptable.
Mine's still a restart.
Okay. So that's where we need to be. So if we go back to the diagram here, we have installed Active Directory here, and it has created its own zone now, which is AD integrated DNS zone, which is more secure. And then we joined the second machine to the domain as well. We created a second NIC, which is independent LAN, not mapped to any virtual switch of Hyper-V. So so far, now we have the authentication, authorization, accounting, AAA in place. So the Hyper-V can be configured with Kerberos to let us start doing the migrations. So that's where we were configure Kerberos for live migration. All right, so now there is okay, let me check how far are we there. So is it loaded for, well, the second machine is still loading, right? But the first machine is there already, so we can actually do the same live migration configuration on the first machine where Active Directory is also there. So it's going to actually let us complete that configuration, right? So let's go to the first machine while the second machine is restarting. Suppose it's taking time. We can use this time to go to the first machine and open Hyper-V Manager here. So on first machine, go to Tools, go to Hyper-V Manager. On first machine, go to Tools, go to Hyper-V Manager, and then right-click inside the Hyper-V Manager like this on the server name, and go to Hyper-V Settings. Let's quickly at least configure the first machine or for first Hyper-V to accept migrations. So we're back here with the same settings, but this time with Active Directory in place. So third one, and exactly the same thing we're going to do in. Sorry? Yeah, this is the domain controller as well. Now this is not recommended obviously to have Hyper-V on top of a domain controller. We just have two machines, and if we go for third machine, it's gonna take forever. So that's why two machines would suffice as long as it lets us do what we want to do. So live migrations, let's go ahead and click enable incoming and outgoing live migrations. So wow, did we do that on first server? Do you see this IP range there in first? No, right? Okay.
Should I?
Well, like, yeah, so I'm just going to remove that just to be on yours at where configuration state. So, yes, let's just enable that. Go ahead, go to the use these IP addresses for live migration, click add, and that's you go. There you go. So, 192.168.200.0/24. So, this is the only IP range acceptable for live migration. If there were other ranges, 10 or any other subnet, 201.0, 202.0, live migration at least won't be working there if it's not added here within the Hyper-V. Okay, so that's the first thing that we have configured. Then we go and expand that advanced features here as we did before. So in the advanced features, obviously without Kerberos, it's not going to work. So let's click Kerberos here. And now we just need to apply, and that error better not come. So go ahead and use Kerberos. Compression is okay. That's the fastest way for the machine to go. Our machines are not heavy, so they'll go fast. Otherwise, normally machines are having big disks there. Use Kerberos and compression is there. Apply. Go ahead and apply, and there you go. So we're good. So once you click apply, we're good. So press OK. Right? Okay. So this is exactly the same thing we're going to do on the second Hyper-V. So I'm going to go to the second Hyper-V there, right? And I hope everyone's logged in by now with the top admin account there, your first name admin, and go to tools, exact same steps here as well. Go to Hyper-V manager on the second Hyper-V and right click here, go to Hyper-V settings, right? And then live migration here as well, enable it. Give that IP range here as well. Click add. (0/24). Press OK. Obviously, the main thing after that would be the Kerberos. So enable incoming and outgoing live migrations. Use these IP addresses for live migration. If that is done, make sure the IP range is correct, right? And expand that plus sign. Go to advanced features and Kerberos. If that is done, go ahead and press apply and OK. So use Kerberos here. If that is done, go ahead, apply, OK. Now, guys, pretty much we should be good. We have 3 virtual switches on first hypervisor. We have 1 virtual switch on the second hypervisor there. So that could also, you know, at least stop the migration and say that, hey, from the 3 virtual switches, you want to go to 1 virtual switch. So do you really want to go? So it's going to stop. We're going to select the switch, and it's going to then migrate. So the thing is that it's okay to have 3 switches, but we could have just removed them as well. But seeing the time there, so let's go ahead and try to move a turned off machine, powered off machine, right? So live migration settings were done on both sides. If I go back to the diagram here, same CPU, same external switch. Okay, yeah, this one, guys. Hyper-V administrators. So inside Active Directory, we need to check if Hyper-V administrator security group has been populated with this top admin account. Although it's a top admin account, so you know it should not need that, but they have that prereq there as well, prerequisite, right? So in server 1, let's open ADUC, Active Directories and Computers, and then just look for that security group. So go ahead, in server 1, go to Active Directories and Computers, and expand that. Now that Hyper-V security group is either in built-in container or in users container. So if I go to users, is there an H here? Oh, it's built-in. Thank you, sir. So if you click the built-in, there's that, and double click that, and you know who to add, your first name, admin. So double click that. It is if you go to the members, it's empty. So let's click add your first name, admin, and check name, always check name, and press OK, right? We're good. So screenshot number 5, that your first name admin added to HyperV administrators group. Wow. So screenshot number 5, your first name, your first name admin added to HyperV administrators. Take a screenshot here. Your first name admin added to HyperV administrators. Alright guys, so that's a screenshot. Let's go ahead. Man, we need to take more screenshots. Okay, so we're pretty much supposed to be ready. And if that has been written here, let's go ahead and start moving the first machine. And we're going to move the machine that is powered off right now. So, done, right? Okay. So, on server 1, I'm just going to apply that. Okay, we're done adding this. And we go to domain and again, refresh it a few million times. And refresh the domain and refresh, right? Make sure. So, domain and refresh. Now, if on machine 1, HyperV 1, if the HyperV itself is open, you can see that machine is there. VM01, your first name VM01 Tor. Now, we need to check which machine out of the two is connected with 2 NICs. We added in one of the machines 2 NICs there. And we also did RDM, pass-through disk lab with one of the machines. So I'm going to right click on Tor machine here, and I'm going to go to settings here. Once we go to the settings, so first of all, it has 2 network cards, and second thing is, it's not connected to physical disk, which is good, but it has 2 network cards, so that would be okay, because if the machine is connected to a physical disk, you cannot migrate that machine. So if I expand that, no, we're good. Yeah. So we can. This is okay. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Does that mean it moves the virtual disk with it?
So if it is connected to this, so this is the virtual disk.
Yeah.
And because it is not connected to physical disk, it won't be able to move because physical disk is the part of HyperV itself, but it does move the virtual disk. Yes.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And that part we're going to be discussing separately as well. Why is it even moving virtual disk? Because virtual disk should be on SAN. And
It's moving the virtual disk because in this case it's not on the SAN.
there you go. There you go. Exactly. It's a local disk. It needs to move with the local disk, right? So, but if it's this physical disk is totally separate concept here. That is called RDM in VMware. That is called pass-through disk here. Pass-through disk, we did do or cover that in one of the classes. So just make sure that it's not part of the pass-through disk and we're good. So press OK. But I just want to see it because in IT we never assume. You know what is the abbreviation of assume. So if we go to the second machine, I'm sure this one is configured with pass-through disk. I just want to see that. So right click on the second machine and go to settings here. And yes, there's the second disk. If I go to the second disk of the second machine, yes, this is, now I see that this is connected to physical disk. I cannot move this until it is not connected to this physical disk, right? So we're definitely not moving the NY machine. We're using the Tor machine. So cancel out from here. NY machine cannot migrate. Suppose it needed more performance and it needed to connect to a dedicated physical disk. So Tor disk here, right click again on the first one, which is a good candidate for migration, and there is it. Keep it off. I hope everyone's machine is off here. Tor. If it is running, just right click and turn it off. If it is running, right click and turn it off. If it is already off, it's good. So right click here and go to this option, move, right? So once you click move here, so the visit starts here. Now it's going to ask, hey, which is your partner Hyper-V and what is the exact folder there inside the Hyper-V that you want this machine to put its files on. So anyway, let's click that next. So it's asking for move the virtual machine or move the virtual machine storage. We don't want to move virtual machine's virtual disk only. We want to move the whole virtual machine with the disk, right? So we're going to stick to the first option and click next. Okay, so specify the name of the destination computer here. Obviously that's the computer, other computer there, other Hyper-V. So let's click browse here. Because it is also joined to the domain, its name should come up. So I'm just gonna put my first name here and check name, and it should come up with the two names. Yep, there you go. So we double click second one and press OK. Okay, then if everyone was able to select that, so this means your DNS is working fine. So click next. No? Are we all on this page? We're good? Cool. Cool. From this page onwards?
Yeah.
So if I click next, you're not seeing this.
I swear. Okay, I did run space.
Top admin, guys. Top admin account. Try to log in from there with domain. Anyone else? No? We're good? Okay. So just top admin account if you're logged in. Plus if there are any other issues, let me know. Okay. Wow. So move the virtual machine's data to a single location. Yes, that's what we want to do. But what's the second option? Move the virtual machine's data by selecting where to move the items. What that means is that you can put a virtual disk in a separate folder, snapshot files in a separate folder, VMEM, virtual memory files in a separate folder, if you want. Or move only the virtual machine. This is the SAN option. If you choose the third option, you must have first of all the SAN or storage area network LANs mapped to your Hyper-V. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So we don't have SAN. Okay, so select the first option, keep it selected. Yes, all files from first Hyper-V go to the destination on second Hyper-V in one location there. So we keep the first option, click next. Now it is asking, okay, which folder there in server 2? So we go to server 2 in the C drive, we create a new folder, empty folder then, right? Then we come back here because we want this machine to land there, exactly. So we're going to go to the second Hyper-V. We're going to go to the C drive of the second Hyper-V and create a folder called migrated VM. So in the second Hyper-V or the destination Hyper-V, create a folder in the C drive called migrated VM without space, guys, without space. So migrate VM, and if you've created that folder, empty folder in the destination or the second Hyper-V, you're good. So migrate VM, and now we can go back and actually give the path of that folder in first machine, right? So I hope we understand what's going on. And let's go back to first machine here. Now we know which folder in the destination server need to be selected, right? So let's go to the browse. Let's click the browse. Go to the C drive because it's remotely now connected to the local folder structure of the destination Hyper-V. So double click C drive here, and there's our migrated VM. Go ahead and select it. Go ahead and select folder. Go ahead and select folder. Okay, so select folder here, guys, and so it sees, it shows like this, right? So you know, before we start migration, that summary has to be you know, take a screen. We'll take a screenshot of the summary before we start migration and see if there are any errors. So if that is selected, let's go next. Well, there's a summary. Take a screenshot. About to migrate. Wish me good luck. No, don't add wish me good luck. Just about to migrate to server 2. So if you're on the summary, take a screenshot here. If you're on the summary, take a screenshot here. It's giving you the whole configuration. So the screenshot will tell what configuration you actually went for. So about to migrate. I'm going to migrate to server 2, right? About to migrate to, well, you know, the machine 2, hypervisor 2. Machine 2 we can refer to. And just a reference, it's 1, 2. Okay, if we have put in that information, so let's go ahead and start. So if we have put the name there, right? So I'm just going to go back here and click finish. So once we click finish here, so if the firewalls are still on, it might have a problem. But right now, if you're on this one, it's saying, hey, what is the external virtual switch name on the other machine? So we simply select the external switch name here, this one, which is the only one there.
I didn't get that error.
Right.
I got a memory virtual quantity above maximum.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'll check that. So guys, everyone else got this? No? Memory?
Configure the memory.
Oh, okay. This means I should be getting that too next. And so those who did not, everyone got that error or anyone not getting that error? Not? Okay.
I guess so.
Yeah, networking. So select the network, drop down and select the net.
Specify the memory settings you want to use on computer generally with 0.
So what's the memory of the Tor machine? You can increase that to...
The Tor machine should be fine.
Or if our actual machine.
I got 4096 on
4 GB.
Windows 1 and 4096.
So if I want the
So it's the same.
Windows.
That's interesting. Actually, let me go strike something. Why does that change this? Yeah.
That's good. That was fast.
Oh no. It says.
So guys, those who are not getting error, click finish.
Where are you supposed to put like 5 megs of RAM?
That was fast. Okay, it's gone from server 1 and server 2, which was empty. Now the machine is there.
Okay. So
But that was off, right? So everyone's machine reached the second destination. Oh, so configure memory is that give people less memory there.
yeah, that was quick.
We're only supposed to put like 500 megs in the hyperV
Oh,
because you don't want to give one virtual machine all of your.
So what's the total memory for that?
whoops.
How did you?
I just set it to. It says you could pick between such and such and
So
such
at
and
least
such.
give
And I
it-
just put it to the maximum. No, I gave them all 1024. That was so weird. I remember I gave them.
Okay, guys. So is it moved?
Yes.
Successful?
Yes.
Oh, good. So guys, this was shut down. Let's power on the machine and move it back. Power on the machine and move it back. This time it must go away as powered on and reach as powered on machine, right? So so we're on machine 2 now. Oh guys, before that, take a screenshot here. Sorry. The machine successfully migrated. Take a screenshot here. So machine successfully migrated, right? but you can say powered off machine successfully migrated. You can say powered off machine successfully migrated.
I already started mine.
Okay, too late. So, but we can take that screenshot anytime. Like, wow, you're
What was it? Power.
You said to start it.
yeah, like that was wow. That was fast. That was good.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So, machine successfully migrated. That's a screenshot number 7. So if the machine successfully migrated already, take a screenshot number 7. Sorry, I asked you late about this. So after that, we're going to power it on and move it back. So machine successfully migrated while powered off, right? Machine. Sorry. So VM successfully. If you put machine is okay, I'll get it. So successfully migrated while powered off. From I'm just giving a reference here. You don't have to really write all this. From to. So VM successfully migrated while powered off from Win01 to Win02. This is just for reference. It's a very long name, but you could just give a smaller name here as well. So that is there. Now I'm just going to power on the machine, which you might have already done. So right click on, so I'm on HyperV 2 here, and then click the start button for the machine. It's starting, running. So this is the same machine that just got migrated while powered off. So now we're just going to move it while it is running. So right click on the running machine and
Sorry, you want us to start it first?
yes sir. So the machine reached the second Hyper-V. Now power on that machine. If everyone is powered on and now right click again and we go with the same steps, the difference is that it's powered on now. So let's click move. Obviously we need to create a migrated VM there again as a destination folder. So before you begin, it's the same thing now on the second Hyper-V. Click next. Yes, we want to move the whole machine, so we'll keep it selected. Next. Our partner Hyper-V is the first one, obviously. So everything goes the same. It's just the opposite direction now. So your first name and check name. Win01, double click that. And so obviously your DNS is good. So your first name Win01 and click next. The summary of this I need a screenshot of. So move the virtual machine's data to a single location. So that location, obviously we need to define a folder there as well. And new empty folder needs to be created in the C drive of first Hyper-V. So I'm just going to click next here. And yes, which folder in server 1. So I'm just going to go back to server 1 now. Go to the local C drive of server 1 and just create a same name folder or whatever name you want to give. So it's migrated VM here as well. Migrated VM here as well. Migrated VM, right? Now the path of this folder can be given in the wizard that is initiated for started machine there. So I'm just going to go to the second Hyper-V, click browse there, and go to the C drive. It's remotely watching or letting us see the folder structure of the first one, the destination one. Select folder. We're good here, and click next. So guys, take a screenshot of this summary. About to live migrate a VM. So live means it's powered on now. So about to live migrate a VM. So this is the configuration we took, which is pretty much the same as for the powered off. So about to live migrate a VM, and then go ahead. Let's take a screenshot here. About to live migrate a VM. About to live migrate VM. Now it's just for reference, I'm just putting from 2 to 1. Yes, ma'am. So what's the RAM you give? 2? Okay. So guys, if the screenshot hasn't taken, go ahead and finish delete migrate. So click finish here. I'm coming there. Click finish here. And yes, it's going to ask, hey, what's the switch you want me to connect to there? So there are 3 switches there. We're going for the first one. If the switch names were exactly the same on both sides, this also would not happen. I'm just going for the first switch because that has our static IP given properly. First external virtual switch. So normally this also doesn't come if we had given the same name. I forgot. So now when we click next, it's saying, hey, there are other switches. So, for the network card, so we can just keep on selecting the first external switch here, or we could have gone for not connected as well. So for the first and second network card of this virtual machine, because it had 2 network cards, so it's asking this question. And I'm just selecting both time the first external switch and click next. Okay. Third one also, guys, just keep putting first external switch to all 3. Keep putting all 3 times, keep putting first external switch. Now comes the actual move. So click finito. Performing the move.
There was an error during operation.
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir.
Enough memory in the system to start.
Again, not so guys, that's your another screenshot. It reached successfully while running. It's in running. Okay, so first oh sorry, I'll leave it here. Yes. So machine migrated live successfully. Machine migrated live successfully. Okay, what do you say? The following information errors were found. Memory virtual machine quantity above maximum. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard if it's not bad.
There you go. If
Oh, I don't want to die.
okay, cool. Back away. See the maximum. Yep. Okay, good. You're good. So guys, machine migrated live migrated successfully, live migrated. Oh, sorry. You good?
We can turn off the virtual station.
No, keep it running. Sure. Good. I'll try to do this. Okay, so
Windows 101. So one or like that one?
no. Sorry, it's not the first one, the one
So that's the one I was using before.
for all this.
Finish. Comes up just for a little bit and then
Yep, that's. Love that. I messaged the prompt of this hours. Something only 2, 3, 4. It's like that. It's never tried.
brought the virtual machine, or with RAM size to 642 megabytes. So is it less than
I
that?
could try to lower that. No, it's that. That's the amount. When I moved it, that's the amount that it said I could max amount I could actually move.
Okay,
So
if we
hold on,
keep
let
to the
me see if I can.
lesser than max. Oh,
It's not on at like 9 at night. You get a response 10 minutes later. Talking about it. Said that he's already thinking of algorithms that wailing.
Okay, let's try this again. Move.
okay, that's this one.
Yeah.
So guys, that's it. Upload your screenshot. Oh, seriously, I did not put that up. Oh, well, let me just put upload. And yeah, I may remove that.
You want to have the things?
I had a question.
Oh, let me just screen upload while you're talking,
Yeah.
because students are waiting.
Where?
No, nothing. I just call in.
I forgot my charger.
Uh-oh.
You made a video of
Good,
this?
senor.
Yes, I made a video of this.
Is there a chance I can drop
but-
off?
This is the final screenshot
Sure,
here.
okay.